Hello, friends. Today I wanted to share something that's been on my mind lately. Maybe because it's almost the end of the year and I was working on some personal goals for 2025. But I've been having some thoughts about the future. You may have heard me talk about how simplifying my life has been helpful in minimizing anxiety. But honestly, whether it's finances, aging, or even death, those anxious thoughts can creep in sometimes. Living simply hasn't made me perfect at letting go of these worries, but it's given me tools to handle them better. Let me share how simplicity has helped me find a little more peace with the future, one step at a time. Let's start with financial worries. It's a big one for many of us. Money used to be one of my biggest sources of anxiety. So many questions sometimes get into my head. Would I have enough for emergencies, for retirement, for a fun thing like a special trip? What if the economy crashes? Simple living has helped me find balance, not by ignoring the future, but by planning for it intentionally and enjoying the present. Living simply for me isn't about being a penny pincher. It's about being frugal in a way that feels thoughtful and intentional. It's about choosing carefully what I buy, when I buy it, why I buy it, and how I buy it. This approach helps me to put my money towards what I truly need now and what I know I'll need in the future. Now, I wasn't always like this, but I've been working on being intentional about where my money goes. I've set up savings, emergency funds, and investments that help my money grow without taking on unnecessary risks. Living below my means has eased so many of my worries about the unpredictable economy or the possibility of suddenly losing my job. By keeping my expenses lower than what I earn, I've created a buffer that gives me peace of mind and freed myself from the rat race mindset. For me, money isn't just about saving. It's about supporting growth and joy. Like recently, I bought a good laptop that makes my work more efficient. I also invested in a good mic for my voiceovers here on YouTube, so now you can hear me better and sound a little less like I'm in a tin can. And then there are also the little joys, my favorite tea that makes every morning special, or a book that inspires me. These aren't just purchases, they're small investments in my happiness. By being mindful with my money, I've found a sense of security, not because I have everything figured out, but because I'm working towards balance, one step at a time. Aging is another thing that I used to struggle a lot with. Now it's gotten a little less. The thought of growing older sometimes felt like watching a clock tick louder and louder, reminding me of all the things I hadn't done or the ways my body might change. It was easy to feel overwhelmed by the passage of time, as if life were speeding up and I was falling behind. But living simply has helped me reframe this perspective. Instead of chasing youth or trying to fight the clock, I try to see aging not as a threat, but as a privilege. Not everyone has an opportunity to grow older. For me, aging is an invitation, a chance to care for my body and mind in ways that feel gentle and sustainable. This might look like doing a few stretches to start my day or doing things I enjoy like crafting. These small acts of self-care help me nurture my body and mind in ways that feel natural and sustainable, not overwhelming or unrealistic. I have also shifted my focus from the number of years I live to the quality of those years. It's not just about adding days to my life, but about adding life to my days. I'm not saying I don't have moments of, oh no, another gray hair, but those moments are fewer and farther between now that I'm focusing on health and gratitude over appearances. Instead of fearing the changes that come with age, I try to appreciate the wisdom, resilience, and perspective I've gained along the way. It's never about perfection or pretending that I don't have worries. It's about meeting those worries with kindness and learning to embrace this season of life with grace. Death is probably the hardest thing for many of us to think and talk about. It's scary, and honestly, I still feel that fear sometimes. The uncertainty, the thought of leaving my loved ones behind, it can feel overwhelming. But living simply has reshaped how I see it. Instead of viewing death as something to fear, I've started to see it as a natural part of life. This shift has helped me focus on what I can do now to leave something meaningful behind. For me, that means leaving behind memories of time well spent, moments of laughter, meaningful conversations, and showing up fully for the people I care about. I've learned to remind myself that while my job is important, it pays the bills and supports my chosen lifestyle, it will always be secondary to my relationships and well-being. For my son, who is now 20, I've tried to set an example of living with balance and intention. I've encouraged him to think about his future while also appreciating the present. For his last birthday, I opened a brokerage account for him, a small way to give him a head start on financial stability. Every Christmas and birthday since, his gifts have gone into that account, slowly growing into something that will hopefully serve him well in the future. Simple living has helped me focus on what truly matters, creating a life that feels meaningful and whole. Of course, some of these fears still creep in from time to time. It's just part of being human. But instead of getting caught up in what I cannot control, I try to channel my energy into what I can, being present, kind, and intentional with my money, time, and relationships. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by the future, all I can say is to take it one step at a time. Invest in what truly matters, savor the little joys, and remind yourself that right now is enough. So we just got back from the grocery store, and I thought maybe I would pop in and share a little bit about what's been going on around here. So the past couple of months have been quite busy for us because we have been caught up in organizing so many things regarding our visa here and other personal matters. And last month we were actually in Taipei to apply for a new visa because our previous visa was a little bit restrictive, and in fact I haven't been able to leave the country and visit my family abroad because it's it's just a little bit complicated with that visa. And so when now we have our new visa, it's called DTV. So it's a 5-year multiple entry, and there's just more flexibility in terms of traveling, and that peace of mind that we know next year and the following year we are we can still stay here. So like I said, we were in Taipei. It was our first time there. We were there for a week, and it was kind of a stormy time when we were there, and some of the shops and cafes and even the embassy where we were supposed to go for our visa application were closed for the first 2 days, and that just gave us time to just take it easy and kind of decompress, because the weeks prior to that were very busy and hectic, like I said. So thankfully we got approved of the visa and we now have it. And then, so that was our third day in Taipei when we got the response from the embassy. And then the following day we decided to celebrate a little bit, because we kind of like a way to give ourselves a reward after being so busy in the past months. So we stayed in the area that is close to this famous walking night market, street market. And it's pretty nice. What I appreciate about Taipei is how easy it is to get from point A to point B. They have a good public transport system, so that made it very efficient for us, because taking the taxi is quite expensive. So we were taking the train a lot, and it's very efficient and inexpensive as well. So just some of the highlights of our little Taipei trip. We went to Taipei 101, which used to be the tallest building in the world. And then we also went to this trail, which I forgot the name of, but I'm sure by the time I publish this video, I would post the name on the screen. What I really like about that trail is how convenient it is to get there, even without our own vehicle. So basically, we just took the train close to the place where we were staying, and then there's another train, and then the final stop, we took a bus, and the whole thing is fairly inexpensive. Right there on the bus stop, we just walked a few minutes, and there's the start of the trail. So I think round trip, that trail took 2.5, maybe 3 hours. We just took it easy and just soaked in the views around us, and it was kind of nice because we were there before the sunset, so we had a view of the golden hour, and it was very beautiful. And then we decided to head back down before it started to get dark, because we were there at the time where the weather was unpredictable and it could rain anytime. So it would be kind of difficult if we are still on that trail and it starts to rain. Plus, we wanted to catch the bus because we weren't sure what the last bus trip would be. So yeah, that's our little adventure in Taipei. I think it's something that we would like to do again in the future. Maybe check out some of the places we were not able to visit because it was kind of a limited time. So that's what's been going on around here. It's been, like I said, it's been kind of hectic because of the things that are kind of out of the ordinary. But now things are starting to slow down a little bit, and we're just taking care of the usual, work and other responsibilities. And yeah, I also just want to take this moment to thank you for your continued support on this channel, for all the kind words, and for reaching out to me and just letting me know that you appreciate the videos. So thank you again for watching. Wishing you a wonderful day or night, and I'll see you again in the next video.